Hello everybody. We're going to take on the Oceanid, the toughest of the world bosses in Genshin Impact. There's a couple of keys to this fight. The one thing you want to have more than anything else is a character who has ice as their element. Changyun, even though he's my support, is going to be used a lot here, because freezing these guys is the easiest way to deal with them without exception. My official is strong enough that she can also do pretty well here, and electricity is the second best element to use. Mostly because it spreads and we're going to have large groups of enemies mostly, so that's key. Probably also going to see right here that I'm going to use my healer a lot, because they're just going to throw a bunch of stuff at us and we have to hope to survive. Using that ice, laying it down so I can do some damage with Luke, because he hits harder. And remember, everyone in the circle that Changyun uses gets their element changed to ice for their normal attacks and charged attacks while they're in the circle. And even for a little bit after. So that's critically important here. Healing up again. Now, new set of enemies to face. Now, these ducks with the aura around them, they are the nastiest things ever. They will do constant damage to you in close quarters unless they're frozen. So, you really want to freeze them so that they're not dealing damage anymore. These things are kind of nasty as well, but mostly because if you don't avoid their attacks, they do a lot of damage very fast. They do about as much damage as I do to them, and they have several times the HP of my characters, so always important to keep that in mind. I don't really care too much about the pigs. They're not going to deal a heck of a lot of damage, usually because you can dodge out of the way. I need to heal up, so I'm going to pop off hits. These hits won't actually do any damage for my healer, but they do regenerate HP on all my characters. So, that's an important thing. Also, Official is very useful because she can shoot off of the areas that we're standing on. And since that area has been shrinking, these guys will go right off stage in a lot of cases. So, critically important that you be able to hit them when you're not necessarily really up close. So, an archer is still a very useful thing here. If I had a Ganyu who was leveled up, I would probably choose to use her in this fight because she would do an amazing job. But most characters will do as well, especially if they can do ice. My first runs of this, I actually used Kaya, or however you pronounce his name. Now, there's going to be several types of enemies, and these squirrels are nasty little things, mostly because they have a very wide attack, and they will do a lot of damage. And we've just won the first round. Gonna go a little more into the different enemies we face on the next run here. Sailing down onto the platform. Gotta go over to this little point of light that shoots up to summon the creature. And we gotta wait for its little speech to happen. It's got an interesting story, but I've now heard it like 100 times, so it's a lot less interesting. Back to the boars. Smack them around was nice. Have Official Zaw's out, so we deal even more damage while doing that. Heal up a little bit because we want to top up our health. And these are the ducks. You want to freeze those, like I said before. I was trying to keep range on them, but it's just not as effective. It's much more effective to just freeze them and then smack them silly. Waiting for the tiles to disappear. It gets rid of 2 tiles every time that it gets to a part where it gives you a little break to heal up. Switching back to official. Now the chipmunks are gonna kill me. Yep.
This realm is no home for a princess.
Not a good outcome, but we're gonna freeze them. Freezing them is just the easiest way to take care of those guys. Let me zoom in here. I don't want to have to worry about those guys too much while I'm healing up. Or reviving, I guess I should say, official. We're gonna pop off some heals for official while not on official. Because she would just die. I like to go through my minimum of healing supplies. I choose the lowest value ones first to get rid of, saving the others for more needy occasions. Now these frogs are another enemy that is just a pain in the ass. Increasing them again. After we put out Oz, so we get some extra damage out. Frog, if you can freeze it and keep it frozen, it's a good thing. When it dies, it's gonna shoot off a wave that reaches almost the entirety of the field. And then, of course, it wants to drop the panel we happen to be standing on. So it's gonna shrink the field even more. But that wave does a lot of damage, too, if you get hit by it. So when you kill one of the frogs, you want to get out of its way as quickly as possible. And we get another frog. And 2 more boars. We're gonna hop off some electro damage. And of course it's gonna explode again, and we're not gonna get out of range, I don't think. Nope. Do some healing. Toss out some ice again. The other boar pushed me out of the way, so my attack didn't start. It can be really hard to keep them frozen. Do a little bit of fire. Fire is the 3rd most effective, I would like to say, against these. But to me, it just never feels like it does enough damage. And we've won this round too. There are a couple of types of enemies we haven't seen yet, and hopefully we see those in the next round. Dropping in again. You may have already noticed these fights are about a minute and a half longer than the other ones. Just because they throw a large number of enemies at you, and you have to go through a lot more waves of damage. Now these birds are annoying little pains. It's best to take them out with an archer, because it's very easy to get them with an archer, but especially melee characters have a lot of problems dealing with them. And I'm not sure what to call these things, but these are a pain in the ass as well. They love to just chase you around and jump on you. You want to get out of the way if you can. I prefer to deal with them at range because they don't like to stay frozen very well, and it's harder to deal with them up close, and I don't have the ability to get away, so we're going to get hit. Luckily we can just heal after this because it's going to drop the platforms. Gotta Gotta wait for it to go into the next stage. And they give us crabs. These are another one we haven't seen yet. They are also a pain to deal with. I prefer to try to stay away from them, but that can be hard and exhausting to do that because they constantly spew out a wave of water, and it can do a lot of damage because it builds up really quick. It's a damage over time effect, which is why it can do so much damage so quickly. So if you get hit by like 2 of them that converge on you, it does a lot. And let's see what they give us this time. And more birds. You want to take out the birds first, because if you let them go, they will swoop in on you, and that swoop deals a lot of damage. And we're gonna get hit, because I can't avoid all of them. Smack them around, try to keep my range. I'm gonna drop out to Oz again, just to try to deal some extra damage, and then he's gonna try to take us on again with his wave, which is gonna hit, but we're gonna heal up, and then it tries to drop the panel I'm standing on. So, let him do that, and this is gonna be the final round. See what it's going to toss at us this time. Just boars and cranes. And cranes go down pretty fast. They don't have a lot of health. But the boars have a lot more health. And they're going to want to have some payback for earlier. So they're going to smack me around a bit. But nothing too big. And I'm going to use my archer to hit him rather than chase him down. Getting some more damage. And we have won. That's all it is. If you've enjoyed this, feel free to like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.